Courtyard Conversations. I'm your host, Douglas Gutierrez, and today I have with me the one and only Dr. Danielle Klein.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I see you got a student and what is that? UTA School of Social Work Student Academics Affairs shirts. Oh,
Yeah, and
does that play into what your role is here in the School of Social Work?
Yes. So I am the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs in the School of Social Work. I'm housed within the office or Department of Student and Academic Affairs. And so my position is a brand new position, and I started in January of 2025. And so yeah.
How has the transition been for you in this new role so far?
I love it. And so my background is teaching and student affairs. And when I came to Texas 6 years ago, I started UTA in a different division here, the Division of Student Success. I took a little break from student affairs, but did a lot of work with curriculum. And I was student affairs adjacent, being in student success. And I loved it. And so coming into my role in the School of Social Work has been like coming home in some ways, whereas social work is brand new to me. This concept of being able to work within a student affairs role and function is not. And so it's super exciting to be back. I will say that coming into the School of Social Work and not having a background in social work, there was a lot to learn, and it was definitely a lot of very new things, but I have felt incredibly welcomed in this space, and I love it. So
yeah, I love that you mentioned that. It's given to somebody who has a production background and not really a social work background. It was surprising to me how many different outlets and how wide social work can branch into. It's not simply child protective services. When I grew up, that's kind of what I mainly leaned toward. But things in education, things in the law, things with policy, higher education, and there's just so much potential of what social workers can do and how we can impact our community.
Right, it's pretty amazing, and so I've, like you're saying, I've learned a lot about the field, and I like that the work that I do allows us to take an administrative approach to supporting how people are going to be prepared for and then transition into the field, right? And so I love that. So academic advising is in my area, and learning about the degree plans and learning about what students need to do to be able to take their courses, be prepared for practicum, graduate. And graduation is also part of what is in my area.
There you go.
Has been incredibly illuminating, and especially to understanding what students are learning about, which is fascinating. I have a degree in curriculum and instruction, and so and I also have another degree in curriculum theory, and so it's really cool to be able to see that. And whereas I don't have that content expertise because I don't have a background in social work, I do get to look at it from a structural view, which I love. And so
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, transitioning into our program today,
Let's do it.
my first question to you, Dr. Klein, why are student organizations such an important part of the UTA School of Social Work experience?
Yeah, and so I love this question, right? And if you are okay with it, to kind of take it from a broader perspective, right? And so when I first came into my role, and when I first was introduced to the role itself, before I even came into it, a lot of emphasis was put on this idea of student organizations, right? Coming in, working with student organizations, and I have a lot of experience working with various types of student organizations, whether they're student government type organizations or strictly like clubs and program type organizations, leadership and all of that. And so my first understanding of my role was that we were going to look at student orgs, and student orgs are really important because it's allowing our students to organize in ways that allow them to put into practice a lot of what they're doing in their course. So it's this opportunity for application in many ways, and to do it in the way that they feel is important. It allows them to live what they're doing. And so student orgs are really crucial to how we are living our community here in the School of Social Work, right? And so providing them with the support and structure they need to be successful is important. Providing them a bridge to the larger student organization structure that exists here at UTA, of which they are under that umbrella, right, is
Mhm.
really helpful for them as well to help them to be thriving and active bodies on campus.
Sure.
As I started to go deeper into my role, right, and once I was able to hire a director, right, for student engagement, Dr. Holly Yang, what we started to notice is that it's not just about student organizations, right? It's about this larger concept of student leadership and how we want
Mhm.
to work with student leadership on this campus. Student organizations is a form of student leadership, right? You've got those formal outlets of leadership, whether you're holding like a presidential or executive role, but it's also you're a group of students existing within the everyday in an organized way, and that is also student leadership, right? And so
I like that. Yeah.
and I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
right? And it's something that I feel very strongly about because I truly believe, right, that to be a leader is to act in the everyday. It's not only to act in big moments or to act in your role or anything like that. It's about what am I doing in my everyday to impact, which I think is really closely aligned to what social work is about and what our students are trying to accomplish in this field.
Right.
And so Dr. Yang and I have really tried to take this idea of student leadership and bring it to what we're doing with student engagement, whether we're looking at our formal idea of student organizations, whether we're looking at some of our other opportunities within the School of Social Work, right, that are related to engagement for our students, right? Looking at our USL, our undergraduate student leader, graduate student leader roles, looking at our tutors in our connection lab, right?
Mhm.
Looking at how we can engage our online students, all of the things that we're trying to accomplish, right? Springing from this idea of student organizations and then expanding really into this idea of student leadership so that our students are able to engage in the world of social work outside of the classroom in all the ways that they want to, that fits their needs and their purpose
Mm.
and strictly their calling for social work. And so I
I
think it's essential.
I love it. I love it. I want to really emphasize this bridge word that you use. Based on your explanation, it provides this idea for me that anyone and everyone can become a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the eligibility component of it because it reaches out and extends into the markets of when it comes for betterment and improvement, anyone at any point in their life can make the decision
Mm-hmm.
to want better for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be an actual quote, but I've always grew up listening to this saying of if you want to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very paradoxical way of thinking. But for someone like me, I understand it in terms of choose what examples you want to be
Mm-hmm.
your North Star, so to speak.
Right.
And then get with this community or others like-minded individuals
Mm-hmm.
who are striving toward this common goal.
Right.
So I really love, again, just the bridge aspect of it of you have students who want to be engaging, but now push them into these roles of leadership where they can still engage and impact more people along the way.
Right. And so, two things that you've said that really resonate with me this idea of followership, which I believe is an essential characteristic of leadership, right?
Mm.
And so, we all play different roles in how we lead, right?
Correct.
And so, not everyone is going to be that person that's going to rally people, right? And leadership isn't always about rallying
Correct.
people. And so, I taught a class a few years ago to freshmen in the College of Business here, and it was a leadership class. I went in for 4 different times, and one of the things that we talked about was followership. And the students really had an interesting take for me. They're like, because they're business students and marketing students particularly, they're like, followership just hasn't been marketed in the right way, right? And that came out of our discussion on what leadership is, what followership is, and it's true. I think people think of followership as not having a direction or not having a drive or not having your own take or print on something, and that's just not true, right? And so you need people to do the work,
Hmm.
right? And that is what followership is sometimes, right? And so again, if you're looking at this idea of everyday leadership and doing these small acts in your everyday, right? This concept of followership not being as I'm just being led along, but taking that lead on your own in small ways, right? To
Hmm.
follow a larger common goal that many people might share is a form of leadership, right? And so
Yes.
the other thing that you talked about that I really, really appreciated is this idea of a bridge, right? And so student organizations is just one way to bridge this idea of what we're doing in the classroom to what we want to do outside of the classroom. Not everyone has time to be part of an organized, right, student organization or an organized body. And one misconception that both Dr. Yang and I would love to dispel is that if you're part of a student organization, it's this ironclad commitment that you have to do. If you
Yep.
take on a role, right, in a student organization as the president or any of the other executive roles, that is a commitment, right? You're committing to doing something for at least a semester, if not a full year, and you're committing to some of those responsibilities that come along with it. But you're as a member of the student org, you have that option to participate in the ways that you need to participate, right? And there are some requirements to being part of a student organization, right? And so there's things that you have to do. And if you're finding that you can't do what is required of you for a student org, that is okay, right?
Hmm.
For a number of different reasons. One, because there is some flexibility, right, in how you can engage within the School of Social Work. Our goal, both Dr. Yang and I, our goal for student affairs within the School of Social Work is that students are able to engage with this community and our larger communities in the ways that work for them. Our students are caretakers. Our students have full-time jobs. A lot of our students have multiple jobs, right?
Some of our parents.
Some of them are parents.
Yeah.
And so we all come in with different identities that we need to honor in terms of what that time commitment looks like. And not everyone can be committed at the same level and at the same times. And so we're trying to provide opportunities for students to get engaged in the School of Social Work as leaders or as participants or as followers, however you want to be in that moment in a fluid way, right? In the ways that work for them. Some people are able to drop in, drop out. Some people are able to do something that's more committed. We're offering a lot of different opportunities for students to show their advocacy, to show their activism, to show their commitment to supporting our communities, right? And whether you're taking a role as a USL, GSL for a semester for the year, or you're just coming to our social work advocacy day that we hold in Austin, right? For that one time, we want to ensure that people are able to engage in the ways they want to and be the leaders that they want to be, but in the way, in the space that they can be. No shame in that, right? Like I have an 8-year-old and kid takes up a lot of time. I love him dearly, right? But once baseball season hits, like my time is very limited.
Yeah.
And so, and I know other parents feel that way and other people with other commitments feel that way. And so we want to provide something flexible and adaptable that works for all of our students.
I love that answer, Dr. Klein. And it seems that there's this astounding awareness of the type of students that also come into social work and all of the other resources available to supporting our students. Speaking of resources, what other resources are there in the School of Social Work that we can use to supply and support our students?
Absolutely. So, something else that I do in the School of Social Work is I support our students who might be dealing with some sort of crisis or need some sort of response, need support, right? Or some sort of, again, to use this idea of bridge that you're talking about, bridge to other resources, right? And so we have a number of different outlets here in the School of Social Work that allow us to do that for our students. So one of the great things that I am just honored to be able to do is support our students if they're struggling, if they're facing some obstacles, if they need some support. Okay. And so what we have is what's called the Bridge Alert process, right? Formerly known as care referrals, but we've changed this to Bridge Alert because in the Department of Student and Academic Affairs, we have our bridge team, right? And our bridge teams are made up of someone from advising, someone from our practicum education department, myself, our associate
Hmm.
dean, right? Our staff in the Office of the Department of Student and Academic Affairs. And together we're a team that exists to support our students. And if anyone is struggling, we really want them to submit a bridge alert. Okay. So that
Okay.
can be submitted by faculty, by staff, by the students themselves, by the person themselves who might be struggling. And I've received alerts from all of these students. I get a lot from faculty and staff, but I have also gotten a fair amount by students and people themselves who need support. And they let us know that they're struggling. They might be struggling academically. They might be struggling emotionally. They might need access to, financial supports or food supports or whatever
Hmm.
it might be. And this is a great resource that is available. I get these referrals, and then I reach out to the students and I talk to them, and I get a sense of what their needs are, and I provide that bridge for them that
Hmm.
allows them to be connected to the areas that they might need to be connected to. I've connected students to their faculty. I've advocated for them to be able to work with their faculty if something is coming up in their life. We have students, life is happening.
Life is
It's
happening.
happening to us all the time. We go through births, we go through deaths, we go through sickness. There's all the things going on. And right, it's really important to us that our students know that we care, okay, and that we want to support them. And so if I can get you connected to a resource that's going to help you, wonderful. We have the Care Fund here as well in the School of Social Work
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
provides emergency fund support, right? And so that is another option for students. There's an application that they can fill out. And so for one-time support, and we have students definitely taking advantage of this, and we want to support our
Yeah.
students that way. And so there's a lot that we're doing here because we recognize that students do not exist in a vacuum that is the classroom.
Mm,
They
of
have full and rich lives happening outside of that space, and we
course.
need to support them in all those areas.
Of course. Now, my undergrad experience, I went to a much smaller school,
Hmm.
though it was private, smaller scale. But I love when I hear about these available resources at a much larger school
Hmm.
because it gives this human connection,
Hmm.
the display of support. That you don't just see students as an ID number.
Hmm.
You don't just see students as you see students for what they are,
Right,
people with everyday lives wanting to better themselves,
right, right.
and for more so having the courage and the strength to ask for help,
Hmm.
uh, especially here in the West. I like to give a more global
Yep.
perspective.
Well, it's not easy asking for help.
Yeah, here in the West, there's this hustle culture, grind
Hmm.
culture, and similar to what you were speaking on earlier about the followership, that there's weakness displayed in asking for help. There's weakness displayed in acknowledging there's a difference or a gap between you and the next step where you want to be. So it really warms my heart to see that we're seeing people as humans. We're seeing people as mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, widows. Um, we're seeing them as people in this everyday game we call
Hmm.
life, struggling, but still making the intentional
Hmm.
decision to find a way to move forward.
Right. I see that with so many of our students. People just they're so passionate about getting their degree, and they want to finish their degree, and sometimes something happens and it makes it just a little hard. And we want people to finish their degrees. We want to get you that BSW or that MSW,
Hmm.
right? Help you get the certificate, whatever it is that you need. We want to bring you their DSWs soon, our PhD students. No one can do these things by themselves.
No
It's one of
one,
the first things I always ask
no
students
one.
when I talk to them is, do you have a support system? And let us be part of that support system. And so because it's hard, like, and things are hard now. And
Yeah.
so like it's part of the reason why my position was created, was to be able to have someone with the dedicated space to do outreach to the students to let them know that the school of social work cares, because we don't want people to be seen as just a student ID or just a number in our
Hmm.
retention data,
Yeah.
right? Like That is not at all what the school's about. And that's one thing I love about being here in the School of Social Work, is that that is the purpose and the goal, right? To utilize resources and create space so that students don't feel like that.
I love this idea of creating real relationships with
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a student I would work with, Pauline C.S. I'm going to shout her out. Great student, just a great individual. She's a mother, and I've never seen a Latino mother so dedicated to her coursework and to be a wife and to be a mother to her kids. And we had an event, the suicide prevention panel, a couple of weeks ago, and she came and we had a conversation, just catching up about life. And I don't know, it was very timely that for an event of that magnitude and of that severity, for us to kind of have that real conversation about, hey, like, if you need help, I wasn't just a videographer you was, you would do videos with, somebody who actually cared about you.
Right.
And just to see that relationship form from a professional setting. It's my lunch. It's lunchtime.
Love it.
Yeah. But overall, just
a human who needs to eat.
But overall, just to formulate real life relationships with people, and just how it all kind of came together from, again, being in a social work setting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, right? Isn't that what we all want? And you come into a space like UTA that is so big, right? And it's not like it's not this enclosed campus either, right? We have students living on campus. We have students living adjacent to campus. We have a lot of students who don't live on campus. And so you've got this big space with lots of movement happening, right? And then you also come into the School of Social Work, which is huge. School of Social Work is really big. So, right, yeah, you might get a little bit smaller coming into the School of Social Work, but it's still a really big space. So what all of these different supports and leadership opportunities and relationship building does is it makes a big space seem like a lot smaller, and it helps students to feel like they belong a little bit more.
Yeah.
We want students to feel like they belong academically in their classrooms and with the relationships they build with their faculty.
They're more connected.
Yes, and we want them to feel connected to each other outside of the classroom, right? And so to your point about relationships, it's important, and if we can make a bigger place seems smaller, right? And if we're doing that by building relationships,
Correct.
that's the key. In my role, right? Like, I'm an assistant dean, right? I'm not on the ground level anymore, right? Like dealing with students every day, like I used to do when I was in housing and residence life and working with the RAs and living in the residence halls too. That was an interesting experience. I loved it. And so, right. And so being able to build relationships in what I do now is important to me, for that very reason that you just identified.
Yeah. Speaking of impact, Dr. Klein, I want to get into this next question. What does a thriving student organization look like under your vision for the School of Social Work?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question, right? And so a thriving student organization or any type of thriving student engagement, right, looks like people committed and coming together, right, to engage with each other, engage with whatever activities or service programs that they're doing, and fully immersed and engaged in it, right? We want our student organizations and we want our student leaders to be fulfilling the goals that they have. A lot of what we work with, all of our student orgs, our student leaders, is what are your goals? What are your values, right? How do you live this idea of what you're trying to accomplish in your everyday life, right? And so we do values exploration, we do goal setting, we talk about, right, what does it mean to know the things that you're doing and to engage and live the things that you're doing, right? And that is what something thriving looks like. It means that you are aware and involved and engaged, and that's what we want, and that lets us know that we are being successful in working with our students to have an experience that allows them to not just identify what it is that they want to get out of an experience,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's a classroom experience, a leadership experience, a program that they're doing and going to. And then to be able to engage with that, knowing that they're living their values and reaching their goals, right?
Mhm.
And then we're reflecting with them afterwards, right? And the learning happens in the reflection, right? And so we want our students, right? If our students are able to then reflect upon what it is that they have been doing, that they have been experiencing, that they have been developing and growing within themselves,
Mhm.
then we know that they're thriving, right? And so um, communication is something that's also really important. We want students to be able to feel empowered um, by and through communication as well, and that lets us know that we've achieved some of our goals when it comes to students
Right.
becoming what we call self-authors, right? People who
I like that.
are intrinsically right operating with a locus of control within themselves,
Mhm.
and being able to advocate and work towards their goals. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So in a nutshell, what I got from that was service, but not because you were told to, but because we're positioning students in these roles that align with what's within them naturally.
Exactly. Yep, that is
Interesting.
exactly it. You got the nutshell quite well.
I was a good note taker in
Yes.
college. And wow, so much time has passed by. We should do this more often. Yeah, time
I
just flies by with
love
you, Dr.
this.
Klein.
I love this. I love chatting with you,
Yeah.
Doug. And so,
Unfortunately, though, I only have time for one more question.
all
So
right.
we're gonna end it with a vision question.
Okay.
What message would you share with students who are curious about joining or starting a student organization here at UTA?
Yeah. So, for any student who is curious or interested in joining,
Hmm.
my best piece of advice is to do it. Basically, come to the meeting, reach out, ask the questions, right? That doesn't commit you to something that you might not know enough about, but it starts to get you the information that you need to know at what level can I start to engage, right? And so if you're interested in joining a student organization, reach out to that student organization's president, reach out to Dr. Yang if you don't know where else to go. If you want to start a student organization, reach out to Dr. Yang, ask the questions. And that's the greatest way to start, because you'll be surprised at what you might find out. You might have an idea about what this entails and what it involves. And then when you start asking the questions, you're either going to find out it was what you expected or it might be different than what you expected. And that's a good thing. A lot of times students don't participate or don't engage because they have an idea about what it means to commit to something, and they don't think that they have the time or they don't have the availability to do that. And often that's not the case, right? And you might think you want to do a student organization and you might find out, no, I don't have the availability to do that. But here's this other opportunity that I can do. And that's actually something that I really want to do, or it's a better fit, or it fits more with my schedule. And so here's a different way that I can be involved that meets my needs and meets my goals. And that's what I want to do. And so the number one thing to do is just reach out. If nothing else, reach out to Dr. Yang, reach out to me, and we'll be able to get you started on the right path to wherever it is that you need to go to be involved. And so,
Awesome. Well put. I love the bow you tied on it at the end.
thank you.
That concludes this episode of Courtyard Conversations. I'm your host, Douglas Gutierrez. And again, with me, I have my lovely guest, the one and only Dr. Danielle Klein.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming again.
Yeah,
Thank you for
appreciate
all
it.
your support, and thank you for everything that you do. If you look beneath your sofa, we have a little gift for you.
Ooh, it's like Oprah, right?
Something like that.
Ooh, I love it. Should I open up and show
If
people
you
what I
want
got?
to, yeah.
So I was just thinking how I need one of these.
Look at that.
Someone else had it and I coveted it. And so you all can attest to how much I like. I don't know if I can talk about you, Thomas, but oh my God, thank you. This is wonderful. A keychain. Thank you for my present. I love a good gift.
Nice little swag.
Yes.
Stuff we all get.
Swag rocks. Trust me, never have enough swag. My husband hates it.
Never have enough swag. Thank you again. Thank you again,
Yes.
Dr. Klein. We appreciate everything that you do. Never stop being you.
So thank you for having me. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate the time.
You rock, Dr. Klein.